Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson, still in our Your First Contest series. We're going to talk about posing suits. And I remember as a young competitor, you got to do that. You got to open up those magazines or go to those websites and start shopping for a suit. I soon learned, of course, even as a male competitor, that you could get custom suits made, which could up your game a little bit. So there are so many people out there now custom making suits, Adam. Without getting into who you would recommend, how do you start the process with a client of even deciding where to look?
Yeah, just first of all, knowing their division that they're competing in, and also how far they're possibly looking to take the sport. Your suits, depending on the division, for men, they can be $20 to, I think, $120 for posing trunks. Women's, bikini and figure suits can be as cheap as $350 all the way up to, I've seen, $1,200 or more. So,
Crazy.
Knowing what the client wants, and just like our last one, if you're between divisions, you might want to split down the middle your costs on like a women's bikini and then a women's figure suit. And if someone's in that situation, I might spend more money on the bikini where the division's a little more subjective, and then save a little money for the figure suit, just because that's going to be a little more based on, muscularity, symmetry versus, presentation.
Yeah, and I'll cover kind of the cut a little bit here and just simply say, go look at a lot of lineups, look at photos, look at websites, and look for the type of suit that you like on different people, and notice how it changes the shape of their physique and symmetry just visually. So, I remember, back in the day, you could, as male trunks, it was mainly, the cut of the back. Either it's kind of a full cut or more of a European, and then they became more triangular. And so you're basically deciding how much of my glutes do I want to show. And somebody who's very modest, or maybe they think like me, I have a hard time getting my glutes that striated, so I really just kind of want to cover them. But then all of a sudden, that makes your hips and your butt look bigger instead of smaller. And so you really have to look at how this may fit you. And like I said, you can look at other people to get an idea. But you probably have a lot more experience with different cuts and styles for women's suits, Adam. So how would you approach that?
Yeah, we with women in bikini, it depends on the federation, of course, but we more than likely go with a pro cut as long as they are conditioned enough. But if they're not very conditioned, we might go something a little more moderate in the back. Or let's say they're a masters competitor, we might not go that small in the back. But I just had a girl this weekend at USA's winner IFBB Pro card in women's physique. Glutes weren't necessarily our strong suit, and we wanted to avoid something so big that it just did not look correct. So we went right in the middle of kind of how small she could go or how big she could go, and we were able to glue that suit on perfectly. And we had tried a few different types of underwear to see how those looked versus once we committed to the actual suit. And that made a huge difference, because we were like, this is exactly what we want, because your glutes look the best in here. It was a really good happy medium between the two cuts.
And for color, it was always, kind of a logical position to say, well, for the prejudging, you want kind of a one color, no bling, simple textured kind of suit. And then for the night show, that's when you may add a little color. But for today, especially with the women who add so many stones and so much style to the suits, is there a point where it's too much, or are you really looking to stand out with that kind of suit?
Yeah, there's a point where you can put so much crystal on there that you can't even see what the base fabric of the suit is. So you have to be careful with how many stones you get, what color those stones are, and also, too, seeing it under really good lighting. If you can get a good ring makeup light, you can actually see what that suit looks like, similarly to on stage.
Yeah, and I think once again, guys, to wrap this up, I would say just, look at as many pictures and lineups as you can and try and decide, what attracts your eye. and what kind of, you know, message are you sending the judges with what you wear. And the last thing would be, if you get a custom suit, you know, make sure you're talking to that vendor. You know, can I send this back for alterations? You know, how is that handled? Do I get a certain amount of times to make sure this fits? So check all those things out ahead of time, and I think you'll find out that as you move forward, you know, you'll probably try different suits and styles and all that, but at least that gets you a head start. So stay tuned, and we're going to keep going with our Your First Contest series. Thanks, guys.